Hello, so I just want to talk to you about the copyright laws associated with photographs. So I'm a photographer for fun on the side, and I go out and I take pictures of stuff. And one of the things I do is I take pictures of my son and my husband at four-wheeler races. And so while I'm there, I take pictures of everyone. And I have then used some of those photographs in art pieces. And so I just want to go over kind of the ownership of those photographs and what it means, because it does get complicated, and there's a reason why I don't produce art in my store where I sell stuff of other people besides my son and my husband. I'm going to talk to you about that, because there's ways that if you are a racer and you have photographs of yourself or ones that I've taken, that you can get featured in my store on a shirt. So first of all, my main parent company is Mind Garden Media, LLC. And then as a part of that, I have developed Get Lost Writing. And as you can see on the screen, those are examples of the types of art that I produce from actual photographs. So let's talk about what copyright means and what fair use means. Copyright means someone is the owner, the legal owner. They get to say what happens with a piece of art. And in this case, in this video, we're talking about photographs. But this applies actually to any creative work. Fair use means who can fairly use something that they don't own. For example, news reporting, teaching, parody, like making fun of, and commentary allows you to use work that you do not own, but it allows you to use it to produce some new thing. Okay, we're not going to get into that too much, but you can see on the screen, if you want to pause the screen, you can see here there are different times when a piece of art is considered fair use. We're not going to get into all of that. So the complication here with what I'm talking about is, what if the photograph was taken of you without your permission, right? Because I'm out there, I'm taking pictures of people. Nobody's asked me to do this. I'm doing it. It features some person who never asked me to do it, doesn't care if I do it. Well, actually, most of the people do care. They really like the photographs. But what does this mean? What's the legal ruling here? First of all, anytime you're in a public place, anybody can take a picture of you. So as soon as you leave private property and you go to some public event, public grounds, people can take pictures of you without your permission. By leaving your house, you're saying, I'm willing to have my picture taken. Now, there are some times when legally we would say, no, you can't take someone's picture. And this is if they're in distress. If someone is hurting, it can be a very bad thing to say, okay, I think I'll take some pictures of you, even though you actually need help. Or if the photographer is harassing the person. So this is the case of paparazzi. So they cannot be intrusive into someone's space. But other than that, you can have your picture taken, and whoever took the picture is actually the copyright owner of that picture. So all the photographs I take, I am the legal owner. But that's complicated, right? Because it's a picture of somebody else. So there's a difference between personal use and commercial use. So the photographer is the copyright owner for personal use. That's the law, meaning I could print it off, I can put it in my scrapbook, I can hang it on my wall, I can show it to my friends. I'm the owner. I can make art with it within my own home. But I don't have commercial rights to it. I can't take that photograph and make money from it. So that's the difference between personal and commercial. So in order for me to make money off of someone's photograph, I have to remove their entire likeness. Anything that's identifying about them. And that's not just a name. That's not just a face. That can be a company logo on a jacket. It can be, in this case, a number plate on the four-wheeler. It could be a license plate. It could be a restaurant that's in the background that's in that person's hometown. So basically, all likeness to that person has to be removed. Someone should not be able to look at this and be able to track that person down based on what they see. And you might think, oh, a number plate, that's going to be hard to track down. It would take some effort, right? Any photograph, it's going to take some effort. But if there's identifying information there, the point is someone could put forth that effort to make it happen. Okay, now look at this. There is no identifying information on this photograph. This one is one that could be sold commercially. Could a photographer sell a photo of you if they've removed the likeness? As long as it has all likeness removed, and in most cases, it is transformed into something else. Because let's go back to this one. This one right here, this is a gray area. Yes, there's no identifying information. This is sellable. But for me as a photographer, this is too much on the line of that is the likeness of somebody. That's still the likeness, in my opinion. The courts might rule differently. But to me, I have to have all likeness removed. So this, to me, is acceptable because not only has all identifying information been removed, but it's also transformed into something entirely different. This person is very unrecognizable at this point. So, technically, I could take a picture and sell it without ever talking to the person that I spoke to, as long as I've removed all likeness and I've transformed it into a new piece of art. This one is my husband, and so I can sell it because he gave me permission to do that. But if this was someone else, look, I can see their face. This, if I did not have permission, would not be legal because there's still likeness there. If your likeness is in a photograph, though, your photographer takes the picture, but you agree to allow the photographer to do whatever they want, to sell the photograph, to make art with that person's likeness still visible, then it can be sold. And if you're interested in that, you can email getlostATV@gmail.com. Or if you follow me on Facebook, you can reach out there and you can also leave a comment on the video. I check all those places. What I like to have when I'm going to create a piece of art is a name, a number, a machine model. Because a lot of people buy shirts based on the machine that the person is on. And I need your photo if I don't already have that. There is no compensation to you for doing this other than you get a listing up on my store. It's of you and that other people in the world might buy it. That's pretty cool to know that someone is buying your likeness. So you have to opt in for me. So if I've taken your photograph in the past and I've created a piece of art and I put it out on social media, you actually have to reach out and opt in and say, hey, turn this into a shirt in your store. Otherwise, I'm only going to create the art. I'm going to put it out there on the group and you can look at it. It's cool and all, but it will not turn into a product unless you opt in. That protects people because some people aren't going to check Facebook and be able to opt out. This forces the person who is featured in the piece of art to opt in and say, yes, you can sell my likeness. That protects both parties because I feel comfortable knowing I have your photo and your work and I can transform it and do whatever. And I'm not going to use your photograph for commercial use without your permission. Here's an example of a shirt design made in my son's likeness. This one's my husband's likeness. And then let's review who owns a photograph. So, photographer by default is going to own that photograph. Okay. There could be a contract between the person being photographed or a business that says, hey, the person being photographed has agreed to allow the photographer or a business to sell their likeness. And so then how can it be used? The photographer can always use it for personal use. They can only use it for commercial use if they completely transformed it or they've gotten consent from the model. And when there's been a contract or an agreement, that photograph can be used in its original form. It doesn't have to be transformed. Here's some examples. There's a photograph. I remove the background. I apply a special effect. And then I apply a design. Here's another example. I remove the background. I apply a special effect. I put it into a design. So, my name is Tanya Driscoll. I'm in Missouri, and I own Mind Garden Media LLC, which also operates many different companies, one of them being Get Lost Writing, and that is this YouTube channel you're watching right now. And with that company, I take photographs and I make action shots and I create shirts. So reach out if you want to be featured on a shirt.